Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hello, and welcome to episode 93 of the Culture Bucket podcast. Last week, if you remember, the intro rhymed, because welcome to episode 92.
Yeah.
Not the same this week, people, I'm afraid. Different week, totally different point in time. And no rhyming, welcome. Well, okay.
I welcome thee.
I was going to say it. Hello, everyone. And I would like to welcome thee to episode 93 of the Culture Bucket podcast, where two great mates...
We used to be best friends.
Best friends, great mates. It's been a week, though, since we last discussed things, so...
I guess so.
I feel like the spark's gone. Discuss all things pop culture, etc., etc., etc. Last week was a Culture Bucket episode. Every episode's a Culture Bucket episode, you fool. You're finished in this town. Last week was a Culture Catch-Up episode. This week is a special. So we're continuing with our journey through the Culture Bucket of our lives. We're going to be talking to you about our favourite things, films, books, not books, shut up, albums, video games, every single year from 1996 through to 2005. It's going to be a great discussion. We're glad you're here with us for it. And, okay, I'm George. You're Alex.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone.
Hi, hosts of the podcast. If this is your first time joining us, it shouldn't be, because this is part 2 of an ongoing series. Please, could you go back to part 1? Do it properly. Thank you. But if you have listened to part 1, we welcome you with open arms.
George?
I just feel different from last week. I feel like it's not the same. So, let's get into it. Love you very much. Rate and review us on all the podcast feeds, Apple Podcasts, etc. Google something, Spotify. And if you'd like to support us, you can buy us a coffee. And the link for that is in the link tree, along with all of our social media channels, Letterboxd, etc. So please go and check that out in the show notes to this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much. Let's get on with the show. All right, Culture Bucket of our lives.
Yeah, we are in 1996.
Yes, the year is 1996. John Major is Prime Minister of the UK.
Ugh.
Things are going well.
Oh my goodness, why did you have to say that?
Well, it's only going to get probably worse depending on your perspective next year.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just, I know I said I wouldn't explain it, but just very briefly, Alex and I are talking about our favourite pop culture from each year that we have been alive. Last time we started in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked our way up to 1995, and we're starting today on 1996, and we're going to go through to 2005.
Yes.
Yes. And films. Do you want to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
1996 was a great year for film.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm just going to pop on 1996 again because I lost it. Yeah, great year for films like Scream, Space Jam, Brassed Off, Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, great. Primal Fear, like a great film with what's his name? Richard Gere and Ed Norton. You watched it as well, haven't you?
Primal Fear, yeah, I love Primal
Fear. Trainspotting, From Dusk Till Dawn, Mission Impossible, Fargo, Stealing Beauty, which you absolutely hated.
I didn't absolutely hate.
Film. It was a weird film.
It is a weird film. You agree it's a weird film.
It is a weird film. And but I think my favourite film from 1996 is The First Wives Club.
Oh, really?
Yes, I love that film. It's never been. I just love it. A really good film with Goldie Hawn, Bette Midler, and Diane Keaton. I just love that film. I just thought about what film I would watch again and again, and I think that would be it.
Fair play.
Yeah.
A solid choice. Did you mention other movies that year? Trainspotting? Did you mention Trainspotting?
Yes, I think so. But you can mention again because that's a great film.
It is a great film. Mars Attacks came out that year.
Yes.
Which is one of Tim Burton's better films, I think. I like Mars Attacks. It's not a perfect movie, but I've got a soft spot for how weird it is. Fargo that you mentioned. Crash came out in 1996. Not the Paul Haggis one, not the one that won the Oscar, but there's a Brandon Cronenberg movie called Crash.
I don't think I've seen it.
No, you won't have seen it. It stars James Woods, and it's about a group of people that get sexually excited by car crashes.
What? Just so weird.
I didn't make it. Yeah, they are weird. Crash is a good movie, though. Also, I think it's still illegal to show it within the city of Westminster. It caused a big load of drama when it came out. People getting all morally disturbed by it. Based on a novel by J.G. Ballard, who wrote High Rise as well, which is a Ben Wheatley movie. He adapted it. Crash is great. But I went with one I think you've already mentioned. My personal favourite movie of 1996 is Scream. Scream is a movie that I love. Every single goddamn day that passes, I love Scream a little bit more. The first time I watched it, I was like, it's all right, and it just goes up in my estimation constantly when I think about how good it is.
Weirdly, I watched it for the first time in school.
Yeah, I think
I think there was like a I don't know, some kind of strike, and we had to go to school anyway, and we watched Scream. I think it was in middle school.
Such a violent film.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
But it's very good, and it spawned a pretty solid, Scream 2 is pretty great. Scream 3 is a real unfortunate, problem with Scream 3 is that the Columbine High School Massacre in America happened just before they made it, and it was decided by the studio that therefore they weren't allowed to make a movie about teenagers getting killed, etc., etc. So the movie is really bloodless, and all the characters like adult characters on the set of it. It's a very poor film, unfortunately. But then they came back with Scream 4, which is great, and then last year Scream 5, which is a real awesome legacy sequel. And then literally within less than a month, I think Scream 6 is coming out, and that one's set in New York. Have you seen the sequel for Scream 6? The trailer for Scream 6?
I've only watched... No, I haven't seen... No.
Oh, can we do a little cheeky MyTube now in the middle of this? Please. Please.
If you want.
Please.
Yeah.
Because it's... Good God, the trailer for Scream 6.
Because I've only seen Scream 1. I've not seen any other Screams.
You should watch all the Screams other than 3. But Scream 6 is... do you remember years ago that... You probably don't, but there's a movie called Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
No.
No. Anyway. Everyone got all excited because Jason was going to take Manhattan. But then, ultimately, because of budget constraints and other things, that movie takes place... About 80% of the movie takes place on a boat. And then, there's 10 minutes at the end where Jason is in Manhattan and takes it. This movie is Ghostface Takes Manhattan, and it looks like it really is Scream in New York. So see what you think.
Okay. So we've moved. Is this Jenna Ortega?
Jenna Ortega, who was in Scream 5 and is in this one as well.
You got a problem,
Yeah.
guy?
Oh, he's just out there in a bodega.
Yeah.
Getting shot and stabbing people. Wow. Oh my goodness.
He's using a gun.
Shotteth.
Big shotgun.
Yeah. And why is he going after Jenna Ortega? Do we know?
Well, Jenna Ortega and her sister were both terrorized by Ghostface in the previous movie, so they're sort of connected to it.
Oof! We just saw her through the crack of the shelves.
But the way these movies work is in every movie it's a different person who is doing the Ghostface.
Yeah.
And they always have to try and work out who it is the thing.
Okay. So the last Ghostface died, yeah?
Yeah. Hayden Panettiere, Courtney Cox.
Oh, Courtney Cox is back.
Yeah.
Wow. Has she been in all 6
This isn't like any of
films?
I think she has actually, yeah.
What is this place?
A shrine.
Oh, a shrine to Ghostface. So somebody really likes Ghostface.
Apparently so.
Hello.
Let's play a game.
You know you're like the 10th guy to try this, right? It never works out for the dipshit in the mask.
It does work out for the dipshit in the mask because he's behind you. Oh my god! Oh no! Is she gonna? Oh.
She's face down worse than the other movies.
That's why I'm gonna shoot you in the head.
So she shot at the door 5 times, but there was no hole made. Oh no, there is. Do you think Courtney Cox is gonna die this one?
Oh, who knows? People always die.
So let's finish this.
This seems a bit more difficult to do in New York rather than in a suburban area.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's lots of ghost faces on the tube, or whatever they call it, the underground. Oh.
Boo.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry. So my favourite movie of 1996 is Scream, and
Fantastic.
Scream 6 looks set to be great as well. It's the cinema near me are doing a double bill of Scream 5 and Scream 6 on the day before Scream 6 officially comes out, and I've already booked my ticket.
Oh, yeah.
So wait for the review of that. Music from 1996. What did
Music.
you think?
So there's a few albums that came out that I really like. There's Richard D. James album by Aphex Twin. He called his 3rd album after his own name. Great album. I can't really listen to Aphex Twin's albums because he's kind of more like a, I don't know. I'd rather see him live and play a set. However, this album was really good. Spice Girls came out with Spice. Weezer came out with Pinkerton, and the only reason I listened to this album because you said it was one of your favorite albums, and I think it's a great album. But my number 1 album of 1996 is The Score by Fugees.
You've talked before about how much you like that album.
I love that album.
And you bought it, and then somebody made you not listen to it because they were morally concerned about it.
Yeah, they took my
they couldn't
album
accept
away.
the real hip hop.
Yeah, and then they replaced it with it was fantastic album. Roberta Flack, they did a cover. "Thumb in my face with his fingers."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so they sent the
Killing Me Softly.
So Killing Me Softly, yeah. So they did it. I bought the album because I like Killing Me Softly, and then they replaced it with a Roberta Flack album with Killing Me Softly in it.
That is
great replacement, but not the Fugees.
No, because it's more likely to make you dislike the album they replaced it with. A stupid way to deal with big children.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a strong choice. A few other albums you didn't mention that I like that year. Rage Against the Machine's 2nd album, Evil Empire, came out that year.
Yeah.
Very good album.
Mm.
Got Bulls on Parade on there. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds came out with one of my favourite of their albums, Murder Ballads. All the songs are about murder and mayhem and things, and it's great. It's also got the iconic Nick Cave and Kylie, Where the Wild Roses Grow.
I love that song.
Yeah, man.
Wild
But the album's got loads of. I think PJ Harvey's on one of the songs on it. Like the album's got a bunch of collaborators. It's a really cool album. I'd recommend people listen to it. The Manic Street Preachers returned after the tragedy of losing Richie Edwards with Ephraim Must Go, with Nicky Wire taking over lyric duties, and they proved that they were a force to be reckoned with because that ended up being like the thing that made them huge. Super Furry Animals debut, The Fuzzy Logic, was released that year. Beck with his big thing that kind of shot him into the mainstream, Odelay. Tool put out Anima, one of their best albums, and DJ Shadow put out, I think, like it's known as the first album constructed entirely from samples, Introducing, which is a good album. But you've already mentioned it. My favourite of that year is Pinkerton by Weezer. Would be unfair to pick anything else, I think. So yeah, Weezer by Pinkerton. Regarding video games that year, very briefly, Super Mario 64, which is an iconic game, created the 3D platformer. The original Resident Evil also came out in 1996, but I've gone for the game that dominated my childhood for a good couple of years, Pokemon Blue. Pokemon Blue. I had Pokemon Blue. I had a file with all 151 Pokemon, including Mew, and it was the greatest achievement of my life. And then somebody deleted it, and it now I don't bother to try and do good things because I know that people will just take them away from me. So what's the point in trying?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon Bloody Blue, and then for Christmas I got Pokemon Red and a link cable, so I could do because there were some Pokemon you could only get in Pokemon Red, some you could only get in Blue. So I got the other copy of the other color, so I could do the trading to get all the Pokemon. And then I couldn't find my copy of Pokemon Blue, and I spent all of Christmas Day sad because I had Red and now I didn't have Blue anymore. And then I found Blue down the side of the couch, and it's good, man. 1997.
1997, another great year for films. All years are good years for films. Things like The Full Monty came out. I love that film.
Good film.
George of the Jungle with now... What? How could you not love that film? Brendan Fraser.
Because I was bullied, is why.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Whoa.
Go on.
Two great films by Nick Cage, Face Off and Con Air in the same year.
How does anybody produce that?
It's amazing. Men in Black, which was pretty awesome at the time. Disney animation film Hercules, Jackie Brown, great film. But I went with the Studio Ghibli Princess Mononoke.
Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Amazing film.
It's the best film.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's very,
So
very
good.
good. I need to watch it again, actually. I've only seen it once.
Yeah,
So
it's
nice
very
to watch
long, but once you
the
get
issue.
into the groove of it and kind of realize the beauty of it, and you have the time to just watch it, it's just amazing. It's so good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Some things you didn't mention. David Fincher, one of his lesser projects, but still very enjoyable, released The Game in 1997 with Michael Douglas. Space-bound horror film where Sam Neill announces that where we're going we don't need eyes, which is a great line. Event Horizon came out in 1997. The Fifth Element, did you mention that?
No, I haven't. Why did I not mention that?
That is, I've got that down here as a
Is that
1997 movie. Let me double check.
Because yes, definitely.
Yep, it is. Yep.
Oh, 100% that. I love that film. It's one of my faves.
It's so good. And then David Lynch released bizarre, weird Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson vibed madness film, Lost Highway, which if you've never seen a David Lynch movie, don't start with Lost Highway because it will upset you. But it's bloody awesome. But I've gone with a recent film, directed by a Japanese director whose name is Kiyoshi Kurosawa, and the movie is Cure, or Cure in Japanese. A serial killer movie about a man who can sort of tell people what to do when they do it, and they don't know why they're doing it, and then nobody can work out what's going on with these murders because they all seem so different yet so similar. And the director that's investigating them is kind of driven a little bit mad by it all. And it's a really incredible film. Like when people were making films like Seven and stuff like that, Cure is in that vein from a similar time. But because it was it wasn't really until Ringu came out a couple of years later that Japanese cinema started being much more heavily imported to the West. So Cure often gets forgotten about a little bit. I think it's a masterpiece, and everyone should watch it. Yours so good.
Nice.
Yeah. What about music in 1997?
Music in 1997. So I've got Foo Fighters, The Colour and Shape.
And do you know what I noticed for the first time now, when I was getting this list ready? They've spelt colour officially on that album in the way that English people do, not in the way that they would as Americans, and I don't know why that is. Why do you think that is? Why is that, Alex? Why have they spelt colour correctly, but not correctly for them? It's odd, isn't it?
Weird, because it makes sense to put a U there.
Well, I agree, but they ordinarily they spell it without a U.
Yeah. Weird, because I wrote it down. Yeah, because usually weird. I don't know.
Sorry, carry on.
Blur came out with the Blur, great album with Song 2. Woohoo! Very good album. Sigur Rós Von, fantastic album. Daft Punk, Homework. Radiohead, OK Computer, which is a great album. but I think I still have to go for my lovely Bjork, Homogenic.
Nice choice.
Yes. It just seems all like Bjork in
It's
the
all
past
Bjork,
few,
isn't
but
it?
I just love her. I think she's amazing. She's coming to Bologna to play.
Oh,
She's
is
got a
she?
gig in Bologna. Yeah, and my dream is to go and see her, but I know I can't do crowds, so I'll just have to live it through my friends while I go watch
Oh,
it. Mm.
that's a pity.
Yeah.
Because she's not coming to Manchester. I'd love to see that tour.
Amazing.
Yeah. You haven't. I don't have any you haven't mentioned, but I went with OK Computer by my wonderful radio.
It was a in between OK Computer and Homogenic, but I do.
Every year that Radiohead released an album, it's a bit like, oh, should I? But this is the one I went with. Put them down as my choice.
Yeah.
Because it's a phenomenal piece of work.
Yes.
Yes. Video game wise for that year, the notable releases are Final Fantasy VII, which is iconic, but I've gone with the Nintendo 64 Party Time multiplayer classic, GoldenEye 007.
Nice.
An icon of gaming, and recently released to the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox. So if you have never played GoldenEye, you probably won't like it because today it's very dated. But if you have played it before, go and play it again because nostalgically it's amazing. Yeah, 1998 then.
1998. This was a hard year to choose my number one. Films like Pleasantville, which was amazing with Tobey Maguire. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I remember.
It was such a incredible way to like do a film. It was completely different. You know, it's black and white, and amazing. Lock, Stock, and Two Barrels of whatever. What's it called?
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Because it refers to the barrels on a shotgun, not barrels of, like,
yeah,
beer.
I guess
Lock,
so.
Stock, and Two Barrels of Beer.
Two barrels of beer. Yeah. When Guy Ritchie was doing really good things. Well, it was probably still
I almost did in my tube today. I almost did his new movie, but it's like his new movie's called I can't remember what it's called. The Covenant. I don't know. Can't remember what it's called, but it stars Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
But it's about he plays like a soldier in Afghanistan who he's with an interpreter and they get attacked and the interpreter risks his life to drag Jake Gyllenhaal back to American controlled area, and then when Jake Gyllenhaal wakes up in a hospital back in America, he finds out that the interpreter wasn't protected in the same way, and he goes back to Afghanistan to try and save the interpreter. And it kind of sounds like a big macho army man movie that I don't want to watch, but it's a pity because I like Jake Gyllenhaal and want to like Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie also last year he made a movie called Operation Something, Rue de Guerre, and it stars like Jason Statham and Aubrey Plaza and Josh Hartnett, I think. And it looks like a fun, weird action comedy thing, but the villains are Ukrainian terrorists, and the release has been delayed over and over again as a result because of the war, etc. Because for fear of being offensive, which is a pity.
Could it not be like it could be any terrorist? No, what? It's just crazy. It's like why can it not be Ukrainian because there's a war? Well, it's not going to stop. It's not going to start more war. It's just stupid.
Yeah. It's a pity because
if it's a Middle Eastern terrorist, then that's definitely fine. That's okay.
Yeah, that's always he literally has gone off to make a film about presumably people in Afghanistan being bad. I don't know. It's bizarre because I'd like to watch Operation Something Rue de Guerre, but not whatever the new one is with Jake Gyllenhaal. Anyway, sorry, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
That was a very good film. American History X, a really silly film, but I loved and it's just,
I thought you were calling
silly.
American History X a silly film. Then.
No.
The
Armageddon.
most serious film. Oh, Armageddon.
Armageddon. It's pretty silly, but good fun. Truman Show, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Wild Things. But my number one film, with a little number one next to it, is The Big Lebowski, but in brackets, The Parent Trap.
The Parent Trap. Do you know what? The Parent Trap is an amazing film.
It's so good because I
I
love the
really
Big
love The
Lebowski
Parent Trap.
and I love the Parent Trap, and so it's just kind of the Big Lebowski and a little bit of the Parent Trap because it's such a good film.
The bloody Parent Trap. What a great choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't mentioned. Did you mention Rushmore? Rushmore came out that year.
What the? Why have we not got Rushmore? It's a very good film. Yeah.
It's a brilliant film. It's a Wes Anderson movie. Other than that, the only one you haven't mentioned. So The Big Lebowski. I was like, I kind of should put that because it's the film we always talk about as like one of our favorite films. But it's been given so much love, etc., etc., that I decided to pick instead. Again, going all the way over to Japan for the second year in a row. Hideo Nakata's absolutely perfect film, Ringu.
Oh, Ringu.
Ringu. Oh my god. Again, similar to X, it's a film I could watch any day of the week. I love Ringu, and it's the first film I ever watched that truly, deeply terrified me to my core. And for that, I say thank you, Hideo Nakata. Please do it again.
No, don't do it anymore.
The sequels are, a mixed bag, but the American remake is one of the few American remakes of like a Japanese movie or Korean or East Asian movie that actually can hold a candle to the original. It's not quite as good, but that Naomi Watts American The Ring is bloody awesome.
That's the one I watched.
Yeah, good film. Scary film.
Yeah.
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 Sadako, etc. Yeah, so yeah. What about going over to the world of music for 1998?
Music. Offspring released Americana, which amazing. Well, for me, I don't know. Korn followed the leader. Massive Attack released Mezzanine. Lauren Hill, The Miseducation of Lauren Hill.
Oh, if there were no skets on that album, it would maybe be my number one.
Skets.
Skets. Sorry, skits.
Skets. Yeah, you don't like those. Why not? Why not?
Slow.
They're fine.
I can't. They just put them as a separate track, and then I can remove them from my playlist and make a better version of the album.
But I went with the wonderful Moon Safari by Air.
You do like Air?
I do like Air.
Do you like Air?
Yes.
Yeah, fair play. I've never. Is that the one with Sexy Boy on it? Yeah, you're a little sexy boy. Sexy boy.
Sexy boy. Yeah, that's the second track.
Lovely. I mean, it's got. I love the cover art for that album as well. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great.
Some albums you didn't actually. I think we've got a totally different list of albums here. I've written down "Yield" by Pearl Jam. Came out this year with songs like "Do the Evolution" and I think "Wish List" is on that album and a few others. Good album. "In the Airplane Over the Sea" by Neutral Milk Hotel came out that year. That's a classic of indie music. Really, really good. Beastie Boys put out "Hello Nasty" that year with "Intergalactic Planetary and Galactic." Eels released "Electroshock Blues," probably their masterpiece. An awesome album. Oasis put out "The Master Plan," their B-sides compilation that's better than pretty much every other album they've put out, other than the first two. And Refused put out iconic punk album "The Shape of Punk to Come," featuring this song that you know, because oh my god, we all love this song now. Hang on, hang the heckaroony on, Alex. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
No.
Yes, you do.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that whole album's awesome.
Your energy is insane.
Sorry.
What have you been taking? What have you been doing? What is happening?
Just sleeping. But I have gone with a relatively new thing that I've discovered, and it's become my go-to album and band for when I want to just focus on work or get some work done or something, and it's perfect. It just washes you over in the background. It's so good. I've gone with the iconic, I think, debut long play from Boards of Canada iconic Scottish electronic music duo. Music Has the Right to Children.
Okay.
And if you've never listened to Boards of Canada, Alex, I think you should check that out, Max. I think you'd enjoy it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's like weird electronic music, and it's a lot of it's constructed from old public information movies and things, and it's great. Really, really good album. Boards of Canada, Music Has the Right to Children. Iconic album. Everyone should listen to it. I got told about it recently by somebody, and I love it. Been listening to it a lot. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then video game wise, a couple of big ones came out this year. Banjo-Kazooie. We all love Banjo-Kazooie. From Rare, some of the best music ever in a game. Big collect all the jiggies, get jiggy with it, etc. Really good game. The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Masterpiece, one of the best games of all time. But I've gone with my favourite game of that year is Metal Gear Solid from Hideo Kojima. That game, controlled my life in the late 90s and formed some of the strongest friendships I've ever had. So,
nice.
Classic game. Now we enter 1999. 1999 movies. From what movies did you like from that year? Movies
I liked from that year. So we have A Room for Romeo Brass.
Yeah.
You seen it?
No.
Yeah. Yes. It's an insane movie. Incredibly silly film, but I think is the first of its kind of category, and I think is the best. American Pie, I think it started.
No, we're not allowed to like American Pie anymore, Alex.
Why?
Because of when they film the girl in the room, it's not okay. It's abuse. It's a sex crime. That is a problematic scene, but
it is a very problematic scene. The entire film is pretty problematic.
I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. It's a very fun movie, and the soundtrack. Yeah. Stifler's mom.
Stifler's mum, Jennifer Coolidge, is in it. Come on.
The bit where he says, "We'll just tell your mum that we ate it," because he put himself in the pie.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's got such big eyebrows, that guy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Sorry, go on.
Kikujiro, a film directed by Takeshi Kitano from Takeshi's Castle. Human Traffic, great film. Ghost Dog. The Virgin Suicide. 10 Things I Hate About You. Fantastic movie. The Blair Witch Project, which I actually went to see at the cinema when I was 14 years old.
Madness.
And you know where I live.
Madness.
But I think my number one is Fight Club. It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
It's just good. That's it.
It's got a Pixies song at the end.
Yeah.
Meatloaf's in it.
Yeah.
Edward Norton's character doesn't actually have a name. That's very clever.
No. It's a clever movie.
And every shot has got a Starbucks cup in it.
Yes. I only found that out recently. What about you?
Well, a lot of those... Did you mention The Matrix? The Matrix is pretty good.
Oh, bollocks. I haven't mentioned The Matrix.
Sorry, that's why we're both doing it.
Yeah.
Audition, another Japanese movie that Quentin Tarantino often names one of his favourite films of all time. A very good film, Audition. Really upsetting, but good. 10 Things I Hate About You, did you mention that?
Yes.
Yeah. Office Space, the movie that made me not... made me not want to work in an office. Actually made fundamental changes to my life direction. Great film. The Sixth Sense.
Never seen it.
It's a good one by M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
Yep. Galaxy Quest. Have you seen Galaxy Quest?
No.
Oh my God, do you know Galaxy Quest?
No.
Okay, Galaxy Quest. It's a movie. It's about in the world of the movie. There is imagine that it's called Star Trek. There's a TV show called Star Trek from the 70s or 60s that's iconic and famous. But in the world of this movie, it's called Galaxy Quest. The star lead actor goes to conventions just like William Shatner does in real life, and etc. Everyone loves him. All nerds are always asking him questions about this, that, and the other, and he's always like, "I don't care. I'm just making the movies." And then it turns out actually aliens are real. There's a real alien thing going on in space, and the aliens have seen the transmissions that have gone out into space of Galaxy Quest and mistakenly thought that it was a real document of a real set of space people, crewmen, and they come down to Earth and they kidnap all the actors from the TV show and take them up to space and beg them to help fight in an alien war where they have built a perfect recreation of the ship from the show.
Okay.
It's extraordinarily funny. It's like the best Star Trek movie. Not a Star Trek movie. The cast. Here's the cast. Tim Allen as the main guy. Sigourney Weaver as the main lady. Alan, oh my God, Alan Rickman. Yep. Justin Long is in there.
Oh.
Lots of other good people. Mainly Alan Rickman, Sigourney Weaver, and Tim Allen. One of the few times Tim Allen is like actually genuinely brilliant. If you haven't seen Galaxy Quest, you got to watch Galaxy Quest. It's genuinely an amazing film. It's so good. Alan Rickman is incredible in it. As like a Shakespearean actor who really hates the fact he was in this sci-fi show, and it's amazing. Anyway, the actual film I've picked for my favourite film from that year is one of two movies that I still can't. One of them is the Blair Witch Project, because again, I could watch the Blair Witch Project every day and be happy. It's so good. The other one is Brendan Fraser in The Mummy.
Ah, The Mummy.
There's a scene in that movie where he throws a chair across a room at a monster, and it's the peak of cinema. It's the best thing that's ever been done. The Mummy, it's The Mummy. My favourite movie from 1999 is The Mummy. I love them. I love the Blair Witch Project, but The Mummy, come on, The Mummy. And the Prince Charles Cinema in stupid London the other week showed The Mummy in like a special 35mm print of The Mummy, and guess who turned up to introduce the film and answer questions?
Who?
Brendan Fraser.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't there.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry as well. I love Brendan Fraser, despite the fact that he made me suffer so much as a child by starring in George of the Jungle.
I'm sorry, but it is a good film.
Oh, I can't be objective about it.
Okay.
Too many people sang the theme tune at me. It's not funny.
I'm sorry. It's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not funny. It's just I'm just thinking about the song now, and and I can't. I want to sing it, but I can't.
No,
so.
Don't you dare. Music.
So music. 1999 was an interesting year for me because I think I was transitioning from pop to rock, but good albums. We have Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication, Sigur Rós,
Jatis Buryan.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think.
Yeah, I tried to write the thing, but I couldn't. Blink-182, Enema of the State came out that year. Great album. Rage Against the Machine, The Battle of Los Angeles. Britney Spears, Baby One More Time. I had the physical copy of that album. It's so good.
Nice.
Hit me, baby, one more time. And then Limp Bizkit's Significant Other. But I'm going to go for Korn, Issues.
With the little doll on the cover.
Yeah.
The weird little voodoo doll.
Yeah.
Good choice. I like it.
I really like that album.
Yeah, it's a good album.
Good
stuff. You've named a lot of the ones I've got down here, but Prince Billy put out I See a Darkness that year, which is a beautiful, sad sort of singer-songwriter album. Slipknot put out their debut self-titled album, Slipknot, that year, which I love. Mr. Bungle, the Mike Patton side project from Faith No More, put out their final to date. Well, no, because they actually re-released. Anyway, their final, as of then, studio album, California, which caused a whole big. There's a if you can dive into Wikipedia if you want to and read all about the feud between Mr. Bungle and Red Hot Chili Peppers and how Red Hot Chili Peppers didn't like that Mr. Bungle put out an album called California, so close to Californication. If you want to. It's interesting. There Is Nothing Left to Lose, the third Foo Fighters album, I think, came out that year as well. But I've gone with the double album from Nine Inch Nails, The Fragile, their most beautiful and textured and layered work to date. Video game time. There's quite a few good things this year. We had Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill, classic of Japanese horror. Shenmue. Shenmue is a mad thing. Shenmue was my favorite video game for quite a while. Shenmue. Oh my god, who killed his dad? We'll never know. Crazy Taxi. The craziest taxi.
I even played the Crazy Taxi.
Exactly. Crazy Taxi took over the world. You had to get them to the crazy Taxi. Super Smash Brothers, the original Super Smash Brothers came out in N64 that year. For the first time ever, you could make a Mario punch a Pikachu in the face. Yeah. But my favourite game of that year is the game that I always consider the transitional game for me personally from childhood to adulthood, Final Fantasy VIII. Oh. Because that year for Christmas, I got the Action Man game. And I got Final Fantasy VIII, and I looked at Final Fantasy VIII and I thought, that game is too much. It's 4 discs, and there's a lot going on, and I'm just going to play Action Man. And then I finished Action Man in about 25 minutes, and then I was like, well, I got to play Final Fantasy VIII now, and I played it until I understood it, and it's great, and it made me appreciate what else video games could be beyond just Action Man fighting, what was the guy called, the bad guy, Dr. X or something, Mr. X, I can't remember. Anyway. Good stuff. 2000, the millennium bug, everything crashed. It's everything all bad. Crashed. They built a big umbrella in London. Madness.
Great films from 2000. Snatch, another Guy Ritchie film.
Yeah, good one. Brad Pitt. Everyone loved to impersonate Brad Pitt for a good 2 years in that movie.
Yes, he's amazing. Requiem for a Dream, when Jared Leto was okay. He wasn't crazy.
I've never seen, and maybe will never watch.
No, you should. Well, I've watched once, and that was enough. And I still have memories of that film in my head, which is insane. Not many films have done that to me.
I know.
And then Memento, great film. Really enjoyed it.
Yep.
Billy Elliot came out. And I thought it was a really feel-good movie. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? The Coen Brothers film. American Psycho. Fantastic film. The Whole Nine Yards came out into the 2000s, and that is a great film.
Chandler, get back on television. You don't belong in the cinema.
Exactly. Best in Show, another film with Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
That film was so good. But I went my number one film. Chicken Run. Sorry, I forgot about Chicken Run. That's
never count out Chicken Run.
Okay, never. Great Hardman's animation film. But I went. My number one film of that year is Battle Royale.
Oh, good choice.
Very good film.
Very nearly went with Battle Royale. But I didn't. But it's very, very good. Some that you didn't mention: Unbreakable, the second M. Night Shyamalan movie with Bruce Willis, where he finds out that he can't be broken. He's unbreakable. Unbreakable. And the advent of the millennium was also the advent of the superhero movie in a big bad way, because X-Men came out that year and is a bloody good time. You don't like it, but I've got a soft spot for Gladiator from that year as well. Big, fun, silly movie. Almost Famous is quite the thing.
Yeah. I need to watch it again. I only watched it once, and I wasn't really didn't really.
I've only watched it once, and I liked it, but I didn't love it, but I liked it. It's pretty good. And I almost picked on Battle Royale as my favourite, but in the end I went with American Psycho because such a good movie. The bit where Christian Bale's talking about Huey Lewis in the news, and then he just goes crazy with the axe on Paul. Yeah, it's so good.
Such a good film.
Oh, it's just
so you just laugh at moments you're not supposed to be laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so funny
because it's so over the top. It's so over the top. He's shoving dogs into cash machines and things. It's just too much. But yeah, it's a film. It's a good film. What about music from that year?
Music from this year, very interesting. Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory. Is that their first album? At least it was the first album that I listened to.
It's their debut album.
Yes. Limp Bizkit, Chocolate Starfish, and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. I loved Limp Bizkit at the time. The only album I like of Coldplay, Parachute. I also had a physical copy of this, but I've gone for Radiohead, Kid A, for my number one album.
That's a good pick. I like Kid A. I nearly went for it, but because I went with OK Computer earlier, I didn't pick it. But I think on some days I like Kid A more than OK Computer. But OK Computer was my favourite album of that year, but not my favourite album of this year because it didn't come out this year. What did come out this year is everything you said, along with Daisies of the Galaxy by Eels, a very good Eels album. Eminem brought out the Marshall Mathers LP, one of the few things of Eminem's that I'll happily go back and still listen to. Rated R from Queens of the Stone Age that year was huge, with the song about cocaine and things. White Pony, Deftones, amazing album. Relationship of Command from At the Drive-In. Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea, PJ Harvey, she won the Mercury Prize for that year. Really good album. Renegades, the covers album from Rage Against the Machine, the last thing they've really put out of any significance. But I went with Godspeed You, Black Emperor, and their absolute classic, Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven. I adore that album. I've seen them live. I love them. I love that album. I think it's great. Everyone should listen to it. Yes. Video game wise that year, very quickly, Jackie Chan Stuntmaster came out for the PlayStation, and I played that a lot. It's a bad game. Crash Bash came out, played that a lot. Bad game. Final Fantasy IX came out, played that a lot. Pretty good game until the end. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, very good weird Zelda game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, amazing game, but I went with a game that I played a lot of hours of. A game that you may even have played, I don't know, but there's a good chance you have done. And it's one of the biggest games ever, probably. The Sims.
Oh, I'd have played The Sims.
Yeah, man. 2000 was a big year. The Sims came out. 2001. Many movies.
2001, many movies that came out this year. Ocean's 11.
Yes!
Great film. American Sweetheart. Really like that film. Sorry. I love that film. It's a film with Julia Roberts, John Cusack, Billy Crystal, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and it's about it's like a love story. It's like
America's Sweethearts.
Yeah, what did I say?
You said American Sweetheart.
America's Sweetheart.
Yes, I've never seen it. I still don't know what it is, but yeah.
It's just a love. It's just a romantic comedy, which I really love. Amelie came out in 2001. Le Fate Ignoranti, which I've spoken about in this on the podcast, an Italian film directed by Ferdan Opstek. It tackles LGBTQ in Italy in a time where, well, not in a different time because it's all the same still, which is shit. Legally Blonde, which is great, and you've watched it recently, haven't you?
Legally Blonde, yes, and it's a good film. I like it.
Yeah, and Moulin Rouge, fantastic film. And my number one is why have I not got... my number one, I've got a number one, but then I've got a little bit so my number one is The Royal Tenenbaums, which I love. But also, Spirited Away came out this year, and I love Spirited Away. It's just but I love the Royal Tenenbaum. And I do love Spirited Away. So,
I think you mentioned most of them. Did you mention The Fellowship of the Ring came out that year?
But I didn't put it as one of my.
Yeah, right. I love The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's good actually. Yeah,
very good film.
I think I got so tainted by The Hobbit that I don't even consider them anymore, and I should.
Well, that's crazy because
they stand
on their own. Yeah. They're perfect movies. I love The Fellowship of the Ring. The Others, the Nicole Kidman horror creepy house movie is so good, really really good. Session 9, cult classic of today, haunted house set in a kind of asylum setting. The first, this was 2001 was the point in which we learned what a family was, because the first Fast and Furious movie was released in 2001.
Sorry. Yeah.
Donnie Darko came out in 2001 and I love that film. Wet Hot American Summer, very funny movie. Pulse, another one by the director from Cure, and is the more well known of those movies, and is very, very good. But I think I prefer Cure. The Devil's Backbone, Guillermo del Toro, incredible Spanish movie, set in Spain, yeah. But I've gone with one of my favourite movies of all time, the classic David Lynch Mulholland Drive, a movie
Nice.
that he set out to make a pilot episode of a TV series. The TV series didn't get picked up, so he restructured it and filmed a few new scenes to turn it into a movie, and managed to make a movie that is now regarded as one of the best films of all time. And it wasn't even meant to be a film. Like, the genius of that man. The pure genius of that man. Mulholland Drive is so good. I adore it. Naomi Watts. Music.
Music, very good year. We have Travis, the Invisible Band. I know, but I've got a soft spot for Travis, and I did go and see them on tour this year and see them perform this album, and yeah.
Oh, do you mean? Sorry, you mean 2001?
Yeah, in 2001,
Okay.
not this
Like,
year.
I was
In
like, what?
2001, yeah. And I went to see Travis, my first concert by myself, which was fun. Gorillaz released Gorillaz. System of a Down, Toxicity. Radiohead, Amnesiac. Daft Punk released Discovery. But I'm going to be boring. Bjork released Vespertine, and that's a masterpiece.
Okay.
I'm just telling the truth. That's an incredible album.
No, it
It's
is
so
an
good.
incredible album.
Whatever she released in those years, for me, they were just my soundtrack, and I just, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Good pick.
Mm.
Bjork's great.
Yes.
I've got a few that you didn't mention. There was a lot of music in 2001, like a lot of music. Opeth put out Blackwater Park, classic metal album that I listened to try and impress a girl. Didn't work, but the album's good. You mentioned Discovery by Daft Punk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great album. Gorillaz' original debut album, Mutter by Rammstein, came out that year. One of their best albums. Asleep in the Back, Elbow's debut, hit in 2001 as well. Did you mention Blink-182?
No.
And they put out a really good album. It's called...
Which one?
It's called Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Why did I put it down?
Take off your pants and jacket.
Yes.
Did you get it?
Yes.
Get it?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. Origin of Symmetry, the only Muse album that you would find me mentioning anywhere, but I think that is... Actually, no, Black Holes and Revelations is okay. Muse did a couple of good things, and Origin of Symmetry is one of them. Iowa, Slipknot's second album came out that year. Toxicity, System of a Down, I think you mentioned. The Blueprint from Jay-Z, great album from him. Soul Jacker by Eels, their garage rock album. The first Tenacious D album came out that year with Tribute, brilliant song. Is This It? The Strokes, huge album. What I've picked for this, my favourite album this year, is the Tool album Lateralis.
Ooh.
Massive, incredible album with Schism on it and other good songs. Yeah, love that album.
Nice.
Video game wise, we're getting into the big years of video games now, and there's loads of good stuff, so I'm just going to name them very quickly. Grand Theft Auto 3, wow. Halo, Combat Evolved, oh my god. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, Max Payne, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Ico, Final Fantasy X, Jak and Daxter, Pikmin, Advance Wars, Black and White, Luigi's Mansion, Super Monkey Ball, and Wario Land 4, but I've gone with one of my top games ever. Came out this year. It's a perfect game. Silent Hill 2. The best horror game ever made. I love it. Absolutely adore it. Good stuff. Right, 2002. Go. Hit me. Movies.
I don't have many films on 2002. I don't know why. Very strange. Frida, the biopic by of Frida Kahlo, played by Salma Hayek. Don't judge. I'm not going to judge the artist. I'm going to judge the artist, but this is a good film. The Pianist, directed by the infamous Roman Polanski. It's a great film. I know not directed by the best person, but it's a really good film about the story of a pianist that experiences is in Warsaw during the war in the Second World War, during Nazi occupation. 24-Hour Party People,
Ah, good film.
incredible film. But I've gone for my number one, City of God.
Ah, a film I've still
The
never
Braz-
seen.
Yeah, film set in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing film. You need to watch it. It's such an incredible film.
One day, I will. I know it's meant to be amazing.
Yeah.
Some films you didn't mention: Panic Room, David Fincher's Panic Room. A lesser Fincher movie, but you know, when you've got Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart, and Forrest Whitaker, like, it's a good movie. Jared Leto is in there as well, sadly, but it's a good film. Panic Room, better than it should be.
He hasn't always been bad, Jared.
Yeah, I know. Dog Soldiers, very good film. Werewolf movie, enjoyed that film. The Bourne Identity, Lilo and Stitch, The Ring, Ju-on, The Grudge, the first Grudge movie, 28 Days Later, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, like some good films, but I've gone with I love this movie, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Tobey Maguire absolutely killed it. Willem Dafoe killed it as the Green Goblin. I love that film, Spider-Man. It stands up as well. I've watched it in the last couple of years and it's just so good. What about music for that year? I've got lots of stuff.
Music for this year, I have the Red Hot Chili Peppers, By the Way. And by the way, in the next few years, I'm going to be very bad with music because I've had a moment of transition where I stopped listening to kind of new music and gone back to older music. So the next few years are going to be pretty bland.
Okay.
Because I just moved to England in 2002, and so it was a few years of transition and trying to figure out what I liked, and I think my constant was my old music, so I just listened to that. But I've got the Red Hot Chili Peppers, By the Way. The Roots came up with Phrenology. Sigur Rós, brackets. I don't know what you call it. Brackets?
Yeah. Yeah, the Brackets album. I know what you mean.
Brackets album. And my number one is the album from the Streets, Original Pirate Material.
Yeah, I thought you might pick that. It's a pretty good choice. I like it.
Album.
I've gone with, where have you got my list of things? There we go. Boards of Canada put out another album this year, Geo Gaddy, which is also worth a listen. Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco is classic. Weezer put out Maladroit, a really, really good album. The Eminem Show from Eminem is really good from that year. Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots by the Flaming Lips. I really like that album. It's a good album. Turn on the Bright Lights from Interpol. Songs for the Deaf, Queens of the Stone Age. Sea Change by Beck. But you've already mentioned the one that I picked for my favourite. By the Way, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
By the way.
I tried to say I really love that album. Really, really good album. Yeah, man. So good. Game-wise, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Splinter Cell, Metroid Prime, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, Super Mario Sunshine, The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, Ratchet & Clank, Jet Set Radio Future, Hitman 2, Silent Assassin, Time Splitters 2, and Metroid Fusion. But I've picked for my favourite of that year the remake of Resident Evil, and it's more than from the ground up. They remade the entire game, and it's the way to this day. It's still the way to play it, and despite the fact it came out in 2002, it still looks good to this day. It's amazing what they did with that game. Resident Evil remake is so good. 2003 movies.
2003 movies. I don't have many. I've got Finding Nemo. Thought it was.
Do you know, I looked up recently and found out that Finding Nemo, by some distance, is the best-selling DVD of all time.
Wow.
38 million copies or something crazy.
It did look beautiful at the time.
Yeah.
At this, and
it was right at the height of DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intolerable Cruelty, great film. School of Rock, which stars one of our favourites, Mike White, and current favourites, but we do love Jack Black all the time. But my number one this year is Kill Bill.
Kill Bill. Oh. On top of those, we've got Return of the King, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
We've got Lost in Translation.
Mm-hmm.
The Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. The actual good Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
I haven't watched that one.
It's the first one. You not watched the first Pirates of the Caribbean?
I haven't watched any Pirates of the Caribbean.
All the others are terrible. That one genuinely is great. Like a really fun, good time in the vein of like The Rock or something, like the Nick Cage action films. It's like similar to those, but a pirate movie. It's genuinely good. The Room, iconic bad film from Tommy Wiseau.
I need to watch it, actually.
Yeah. Lars von Trier's Dogville, starring Nicole Kidman, which is an astonishing piece of work. I love that film. X-Men 2 is so good. But I've gone with Park Chan-wook's Old Boy.
Yes.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Yes.
I haven't seen the remake because it's meant to be bad, but Old Boy is very good. How about music?
Music, I only have a few, only a couple actually. I've got The White Stripes, Elephant. And my favorite is Amy Winehouse, Frank, her first album.
Yeah, fair enough. She is an icon. There's a few Blink-182 put out their self-titled album this year, which it's got Miss You on it and a few other good songs. Jay-Z put out the Black Album, which he announced was his retirement album because he was never going to make any more music. A lie, a weird lie to tell. He made an album 3 years later. Dizzy Rascal's iconic Boy in That Corner came out in that year, with the year we're talking about, which is 2003. The Decline of British Sea Power by British Sea Power, a band I've recently been getting into in a big way, and I really love them, and their debut album is really, really good. They are now known as Sea Power, and I respect the decision to remove the word British from their name. Deloused in the Comatorium from the Mars Volta. The Vertigo of Bliss by Biffy Clyro. Meteora, Linkin Park's second album. The debut album from Evanescence, Fallen, came out this year. Which meant everyone was going ba ba da ba ba da ba da 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 da.
Yeah.
But I've gone with an album that I think too many people see as a bit of a joke because I think it is perfect. I think it is wall to wall bangers by a band that I still like, but they've never been able to quite follow up this album. It's so good. I saw them live 2 or 3 days ago and had a blast. It is the debut album from The Darkness.
Yeah.
Permission to Land.
I believe in a thing called love. Just whisper in my heart.
I believe in a thing called love.
Yeah, that was a great album, actually.
Yeah, because as well as that song, which obviously is great, you've also got Love on the Rocks with No Ice, Love is Only a Feeling, Black Shook, Growing on Me. It's an amazing album. I love Permission to Land. And it's unfortunate that The Darkness sort of didn't quite manage to maintain that. I remember really excitedly buying their second album, One Way Ticket to Hell and Back, a couple of years later, and it's not really good. But that song actually is good. But what I love the most is that Justin Hawkins, lead singer of The Darkness, and sort of national treasure, I think, had a couple of years that were quite difficult. You can see some old interviews with him on like Jonathan Ross and stuff where he looks not that well, and he had some documented drug problems and stuff like that. He's come out of the other side of all of that, and the rest of the band have come out of the other side of that, seemingly really happy with their position in the music industry of like, not really a one-hit wonder, but kind of they had this huge moment, they were massive, they headlined Leeds Festival, but now they seem really content to have like a fan base who enjoy them, and they can tour every couple of years and put out an album every couple of years, and like the mainstream isn't really going to pay attention to it, but their fans enjoy it, and they obviously enjoy performing to their fans, and I really like them. And Justin Hawkins has a YouTube channel called Justin Hawkins Rides Again, where he reviews music, and it's really delightful. And if you haven't watched his YouTube videos, I'd really recommend going to his channel and looking him up, ignoring the really clickbaity titles that his producer gives to his videos and just focusing on him, because his reactions to music are really kind of heartwarming, and he's a really lovely guy. And The Darkness are really good, and people should give them
that's a good album. Yeah. I agree.
Thank you. Quite a few video games came out that year. We had The Simpsons Hit and Run, Max Payne 2, Tony Hawk's Underground, which is notable mainly because the acronym for that game spells thug. Mario Kart Double Dash, Manhunt, which made the Daily Mail absolutely lose their minds back in the day. Rayman 3, Rayman 3, sorry, True Crime Streets of LA, Jack 2, Silent Hill 3, Beyond Good and Evil, but I've picked Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, a really good, fun game with a probably bad movie adaptation starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes, 2004, movie-wise, what do you got? What do you hit me with?
2004. So there is Napoleon Dynamite, one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen.
That film.
Oh, I think it's
really
weirdly wonderful.
Strongly dislike it. Sorry, but it's fine for you to like it.
That's fine. Anchorman, I love that film. Dead Man's Shoes. Life Aquatic by my lovely Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
When is the new one coming out, by the way?
Asteroid City. Soon, in the first half of this year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mean Girls came out in 2004. What a great film.
Yeah.
Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yep.
Incredible. Sometimes I wonder which one I prefer, Kill Bill 1, Kill Bill 2, but then
it's Kill Bill 1, isn't it?
Yeah. Shaun of the Dead, mastery. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But also an incredible film came out this year, which is amazing, and I could watch it over and over again, is the Ghibli film Howl's Moving Castle. Oh. I just love this film.
I've only seen half of it.
Why?
Because the DVD I had was scratched, and I got halfway through and it stopped working, and I've never got around to finishing that movie. But I liked what I saw.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, good film.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've mentioned most of the ones. Spider-Man 2 came out that year, which is even better than Spider-Man. The Dawn of the Dead remake, like, weirdly, just coincidentally hit cinemas at the same time as Shaun of the Dead, and is really good. Like, the one Zack Snyder movie that I'll hold up as like a great movie. Primer, micro-budget, weird time travel movie that is worth watching. It's only like 70 minutes long. Really good film. But I've gone with another sea change in horror.
Ooh.
Saw came out in 2004 and made everyone obsessed with cutting off feet and things. And it's my favourite movie of that year.
Yeah. I haven't watched it.
No, I know you haven't watched it. It's better than... It's more of a thriller than the sequels, which is sort of like... The sequels revel in the violence and gore and things, and I'm fine with that, but Saw itself, the original Saw, is like a really low-budget thriller in like... It's almost in the vein of a film like Seven. It's attempting to be more like Seven than it's attempting to be a horror film. It just sort of ended up being... starting a kind of torture porn revolution. But...
Yeah, I thought that was really weird after, like, just a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I remember there was a point in culture where like everyone was beyond obsessed with Napoleon Dynamite, and I remember watching it and being really deeply confused. It was like HMV turned into a Napoleon Dynamite t-shirt shop. Like it was mad. But you know, if people like it, that's cool. But I didn't understand it.
Yeah, it was like I said, weirdly wonderful. You know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I should
more weird than wonderful, but I enjoyed it. But maybe you like it now, because I think it's weird enough for you to enjoy it, because you enjoy weird things.
I know, but it struck me as like, I remember at the time thinking it was like really hipsterish weirdness, like weirdness for the sake of weirdness, without anything really to say. I found it really like, sort of detached, ironic weirdness, and I don't like that. Not for me. But no, you know, it's fine. It's all good. I mean, John Hedder's career has, in my opinion, validated me. But anyway,
let's go to music. Again, not very much choice this year. I've got the debut album from Scissor Sisters, which I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's so fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Talkie Walkie by Air, but I had to go for what bands I went, what an artist I went for before. The Streets, A Grand Don't Come for Free.
Good album.
Those two albums are just incredible. So yes.
Yeah. This is a big year for me. There's a load of stuff I like that came out. Franz Ferdinand's debut came out in that year and was like, well, you're massive.
I can't handle Franz Ferdinand. I can't. I worked. I think. I don't know what. I don't know. I can't handle Franz Ferdinand. It was insane. I think I worked somewhere that they kept playing it.
It was
It
everywhere.
was I think I worked in a cafe, and I'm pretty sure like all those, and that's why I couldn't handle new music at the time, because it was Ferdinand Keen, it was just constant, and I was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's a good album though.
Sorry. I think it was just because I over listened to it. I might like it now.
Kanye West put out his first album that year, and whatever. Modest Mouse, Good News for People Who Love Bad News, is phenomenal. Slipknot's third album, Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses, was like, they were already hit big, but songs like Before I Forget and Duality, like I Push My Fingers Into My Eyes, like made them huge. My Chemical Romance, Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, is an amazing album. They were only going to get bigger. Alter Bridge's first album, One Day Remains. Rise Against, A Siren Song of the Counterculture. Arcade Fire's debut, Funeral, came out that year. Green Day, American Idiot, obviously a huge album. Real Gone by Tom Waits is an album I really like. The EP Collision Course from Linkin Park and Jay-Z with Numb/Encore on it. Wow. But I've picked the debut album from supergroup Velvet Revolver, featuring Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots and Slash and Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses. Contraband, which is great. It's a great album. Song Sliver is really, really good. Scott Weiland has really sadly passed away due to quite serious problems with drugs. But that album stands as like a really amazing piece of work. Great with guitar work from Slash and really good vocals from Scott Weiland. And I'm glad that we got it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Video game wise, a few good things. Half-Life 2, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Doom 3, Halo 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, Jack 3, Fable, Spider-Man 2, Burnout 3 Takedown, a game that I like because of the name of it more than anything else, Psyops, The Mindgate Conspiracy, Katamari Damacy, but my favourite game of that year was Hitman Contracts, a very good entry in the Hitman franchise, where you could kill a big fat man in a slaughterhouse. Good stuff.
Nice.
Right, we enter our final year that we're doing today, 2005.
2005.
2005. What have you gone with?
Okay, so I've gone with Sin City, great film that came out that year. We spoke about the film in the podcast before. I think we were talking about Bruce Willis or something. And a Japanese film called Pachigi, about the struggle of Koreans in Japan. The 40-Year-Old Virgin, I think it still has one of the funniest scenes where they actually wax Steve Carell. And I think that it's just so funny. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I really liked that film.
Did you really like that?
Yes, shut up.
Sorry.
I really like that.
Well, it's just funny the way you said it.
I really like that film. I think it's really fun. I like the fact that other people came from other places. I think it's a good film.
Yeah, it is. I agree. It's one of the best.
Shut up.
What? It is.
Whatever. V for Vendetta is a great film, but I went with Batman Begins.
Yes.
What a good film. What a good start to that beautiful trilogy.
Yeah, very good start to that beautiful trilogy. Also, V for Vendetta, I've got down here. Hostel, which I like it. The Descent is a really amazing Neil Marshall movie about a group of women that get trapped underground and they go caving and prehistoric proto-human people attack them, and it's just great. Steven Spielberg's The War of the Worlds is not a masterpiece, but it's got some good spectacle stuff that he does so well in it. And out of Australia, one of the nastiest movies you can watch, Wolf Creek. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a good film though, but oh my good lord! But I've gone with a film that came out in 2005, but wasn't available to watch in the UK or anywhere really outside of Japan until like 2 years ago, I think. So it's weird that it's a 2005 movie because it feels like a much newer film. But it's a sort of found footage horror film called Noroi the Curse. And even less than I think I've talked about it in the podcast before because I watched it since we started doing the podcast. But it's not even found footage. It's like a fake documentary about people trying to find out what happened to this family, and they involved in this curse and all this stuff. It's amazing. It's an amazing film. It's genuinely one of my favourite films. And it's crazy to me that it was made and just 2020 was when it was available to watch on Shudder outside of Japan, and the fact that it was sort of so unseen for 15 years stuns me, because it genuinely, it's as good as The Ring or Ringu, it's as good as Old Boy, it's as good as any of these other movies that became these huge cult films, but it just sat on not sat on a shelf. I'm sure it was beloved by people that, Japanese people that watched it, but it deserves wider recognition. Noroi the Curse, amazing film. People should watch it.
Noroi the Curse.
Noroi the Curse.
Nice.
Yeah, music this year. Did you enjoy any music this year?
Gorillaz, Demon Days.
Yes.
Such a good album.
It was big as well, right? It was such a massive
big.
thing.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as annoying as Franz Ferdinand for some reason.
Because it was so varied, I think. Like each of the singles were very different. Yeah.
Yes. Daft Punk, Human After All. Block Party came out with Silent Alarm, and I actually bought the CD and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a good album.
And but I think I'm going to go with Sigur Rós Tack as my favourite.
With the BBC song on it.
Yes.
It's good.
They ruined it, really. I've kind of skipped that song now, but it's such a good album, though.
Yeah.
It's just a perfect album, and it's a shame they don't give us anything anymore.
I know. Maybe one day we'll get more from them. But yeah, Sigur Rós, that's a good album. I've got also LCD Sound System's first album came out that year. Really good album. The Mars Volta put out Francis the Mute. Kaiser Chief's first album, which I don't listen to it today, but I liked it at the time. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I've never been this far away from home. Lily Allen did a pretty good cover of that.
Yeah, it was just a moment in time that people had weird hair in England, and they were like, I don't know, there was this time in England that everybody had like a little mullet, and they had like these tiny jackets and skinny jeans, and it was just a crazy time in England, and I wasn't fitting in at all. It's crazy.
Fair enough. Beck put out Guero, good album. Open Season from British Sea Power is really good. From Under the Cork Tree, Fall Out Boy, starting the boom in emo music and making people change those haircuts so that they swiped slightly to the side.
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails put out With Teeth that year, which is a great album. System of a Down hit with 2 albums, Mesmerize and Hypnotize. The piano-centric White Stripes album, Get Behind Me Satan, came out that year. The Subways, a really good little rock band from the UK, put out Young for Eternity. The Darkness tried to, hit big again with One Way Ticket to Hell and Back and didn't quite manage it, but there's good stuff on there.
There's some good songs there.
Yeah, but my favourite album that year is the album that launched. It's not their debut album, but it's kind of their debut album in terms of like them sounding like you expect them to sound and being the most perfect thing that's ever existed. Alligator from The National was released in 2005, and there's no way that anything other than that is my favourite album of that year, because that album, front to back, is perfect.
Nice.
It just is. And video game wise, Condemned Criminal Origins, very good game. Psychonauts, God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, but it's hard to pick anything other than Resident Evil 4, because in a year where Resident Evil 4 is released, it has to be the best game. Yeah, man. The Village, the Chainsaw. So,
nice.
That's our Culture Book of Our Lives. We've got up to 2005. So last time you told me to watch Sleepless in Seattle, and I told you to watch Exodus 3 in the Mouth of Madness or Heat.
Yeah.
What about from this one? What would you like me to watch?
Okay. City of God.
There we go then.
Yep, City of God from my 2002.
Good. On my part, you need to watch. You're not getting out of this one. Why are you sighing? What do you expect?
Because I'm scared.
Mulholland Drive.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Why? No,
yes.
I refuse.
No, you can't refuse.
Goodness.
I've watched so many films you made me watch.
That's not true.
It's true.
I watch loads of films that you made me watch.
I know, it's good. This is why this is a good podcast, and we need to keep having it be a good podcast. You got to watch Mulholland Drive.
Okay. Fine.
Yes. Yes.
I don't want to, but I will.
Yeah, but have an open mind.
Fine. I will.
Oh. City of God.
Yes.
And Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to watch Mulholland Drive and Heat.
Okay.
They're both quite long. But he's got
Fine.
a great big ass! And you got your head all the way up in it.
Look.
Wasn't that wonderful? That was such a fun discussion. I had a great time. I hope you did as well. And Alex, did you have a good time?
Great time, as always.
Good. So next time on the Culture Bucket podcast, it's going to be a culture catch-up special, and we're going to discuss some MyTube as well.
Yes.
Which is going to be cool. I can't wait for that, actually. Yeah, join us for that. Please go and rate and review us, buy us a coffee, etc. Links to all of those things are in the link tree, which are in the show notes for this episode. So go and check that out. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you again next week. I love you very much, as does Alex. Love you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. 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 Bye.